Hi, good evening. This is the September 18th meeting of the Needham Community Preservation Committee. I'm Dave Hara, the CPC Chair. As a reminder, this meeting is being broadcast to the town's YouTube channel and via Zoom, and it is being recorded for publication, later viewing, and administrative purposes. Before we get started, I'm going to do a roll call of the members. Maureen,
Present.
Reg,
Present.
hi Reg, Jim.
Hey,
Present. Adam, I believe he's not gonna be here. Paul,
present.
Keith,
Just a minute.
Keith, did he log in? Oh, hi
Oh.
Keith, and Marcia,
Here.
and we have Laura here.
Present.
Oh.
Sorry, Dave.
Yeah,
Oh, there he is.
all right, great. Just as a reminder, this is a public meeting, non-public hearing. So if any members of the public are here, you can listen, and if you have any questions, you can contact our administrator, Lauren Spinney. As some of our members are remote, all votes during this meeting will be via a roll call. So let's get started. First, let's take care of the minutes. Minutes of September 11th, our last meeting. Did you get your question answered?
I did, yes.
Okay,
So they're now complete.
all right, so hopefully anybody had any comments had submitted them to Lauren. So I would move that we accept the minutes of September 11th, 2024.
Second.
Us.
All right, let's vote. Maureen,
Approved.
Reg,
Approved.
Jim, approved. Paul, approved. Keith,
Approved.
Marshall, approved. And the chair approves. All right, so let's get to the real purpose of our meeting. We have the application for the tennis courts, which I think we've discussed quite detailed. We just had a meeting with the Finance Committee, and they seem to be, favorable. And the public seems to be favorable, everybody seems to be favorable. So if anybody has any comments they'd like to make before we vote, this is a good time. Otherwise, I would make the motion. We have to make two motions, right? One to approve the funding and one to approve the warrant article. Or,
Well, yes, let me share my screen for that.
yeah, I can't read it. I couldn't get it on mine. Or somebody else wants to make the motion. Sure.
Um, So the motion that we have says move to recommend funding of the Park and Recreation Department's request for 1.4 million for construction of the Needham High School tennis courts under the CPA category of recreation, of which 1.1 million will be transferred from the CPA general reserve and 300,000 to be transferred from CPA free cash. Does everybody feel good about that? The breakdown of where the money's gonna come from because of the reserves came from Dave Davison and Cecilia. They provided that determination. So as long as you're comfortable with that, our general reserve currently has 1,187,215. So we'll be using a good portion of that reserve towards this. I don't know the total for free cash at the moment because I don't believe it's been certified yet, but. we never
Mr.
know.
Chair.
Yes, Reg.
So Maureen and I were the liaisons for this project, and I think we both agreed from the beginning that this was a very, very good use of CPA funding. And, obviously there were some additional steps that needed to be taken in terms of, doing the work with the planning board, but that's all been accomplished. So I would be happy to make the motion or have Maureen make the motion, and I'll second the motion because I think this is a perfect example of how CPA funds should be used in Needham.
Great, John. Maureen, do you want to make the motion?
All right, so do I have to read out the
Yeah,
whole?
just read it out.
All right, so I move to recommend funding of the Park and Recreation Department's request for $1.4 million for construction at the Needham High School tennis courts under the CPA category of recreation, of which $1.1 million is to be transferred from the CPA general reserve and $300,000 to be transferred from the CPA free cash.
And I second the motion.
Okay, any discussion? All right, let's vote. Oh, Maureen,
Aye.
Reg,
Aye.
Jim, aye. Paul,
Aye.
Keith,
Aye.
Marshall, aye, and the chair votes aye. All right.
Great, thank you.
Congratulations. You two can, hit the first ball.
And for ribbon cutting, yeah.
Do you play tennis, Reg? No?
Reg, do you play tennis?
I used to, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so you.
I'm a little creaky these days.
You can have the first game. All right, so, we have to vote on the warrant article or?
Yeah.
Well, I think last year we reviewed it, made sure that some people, there were tweaks to the language of the article, so let's just make sure that it's something that we're all comfortable with.
Looks okay to me.
And do we vote?
Yeah, I don't think you gotta vote on it.
We have not voted in the past on the warrant language article. We've just commented on it.
All right, that's good.
Is it large enough for everyone to see?
Well, you sent them out. too.
I did.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we had two new liaisons for this project, or is it still the same?
Yes, Keith and.
Keith and me.
Yeah.
So when we go to the town meeting, the liaisons make a brief introduction, is that how it goes, or?
Yeah, I would imagine one of you.
Yeah.
Would
so if you
make-
wanna do
Yeah.
it, that's-
I'm
I don't
I'm
think-
happy to step forward. Yeah, whatever's
Yeah,
recommended by
I
the
don't
committee is
think
fine.
you need any visual aids, but you can always have like a site, like a. Site, yeah,
Some dressed in tennis garb.
Well, we had a,
So.
But they were getting away from, I don't know if they still.
They're gonna be
they get away from
Yeah.
president. I don't know, something, I think the court should be grass.
Yes.
One, like, the artist rendering of what they'll look like when they're built out, I think is
Or a
helpful.
site
And
plan.
not just that one slide, if they would allow it, I think
Yeah.
it's.
well, we prepared, I think I prepared maybe 2, possibly 3 slides last year before the article was pulled. So I will dust that off, update it.
Yeah, I do think the new site plan is useful,
Mhm.
or would be useful. Because it shows how it was moved a little bit, the courts were moved a little bit away from the neighbors and how the orientation. Was made north-south, and the other issue that was raised by one of the members of the community was storm runoff, and so, you could point to where the storm retention. Is gonna be,
Okay, so I will get that queued up for you guys. I'll send a draft to you and to Keith, and we can work together on refining it and making it, make sure it has everything that you'd like included.
it's great.
That's great. Thank you, Lauren.
You're
Mr.
welcome.
Chair,
Oh, yeah, Rich.
so I'm just mindful of many warrant articles for CPA funding grants over the past. And besides the presentation at the actual town meeting that we just talked about, which needs to be done, of course, it's usually very helpful if there's some sort of fact, frequently asked questions document that's published ahead of town meeting. Many citizens may have heard part of the story of why this is a good project, or they may have heard some of the controversy that arose and so forth. And I think it would be helpful not to ask the proponents to develop a frequently asked question document that is then, as we all know, there's a web, and the town meeting website, each article has various sort of fact sheets and other, information that's relevant to the particular articles that are going to be considered by town meeting members. And I'm wondering if we should ask the proponents to develop a fact sheet and then, send it to town staff so that can be posted for town meeting member review.
That sounds reasonable. Did we do that last year?
Not for this project.
Because it was pulled before.
It depends, yeah, it was pulled, but it depends on, mostly, many of the articles that we have recommended have that sort of thing. Whether it's, the Needham Housing Authority or whether it's the community gardens or what have you. It's not uncommon to do that, and it helps educate town meeting members.
Good idea.
Yeah.
This has been a long process, so I think it would be helpful to include information about planning board and conditions and things that were adjusted since their first application, which I think the town meeting would be,
Okay,
it would be good for them to know that, I think, as background.
so should I send an email to Stacy and maybe CC you and?
You don't have to CC me.
No,
I'll hear about it.
okay, okay. And just ask,
We have a meeting Monday, maybe
all right, then I will do that.
When's your meeting?
Monday,
The 24th?
23rd. I think Monday's the 23rd.
Yes, Liz.
That's what it said in the document.
Okay, I just want to mention that we did meet, as Dave mentioned, with the finance committee tonight. And we're also meeting with the select board next Monday. No, Tuesday, forgive me, the 24th. Typically, we have these before we vote, these consultations, but just because of our accelerated timeline and, we're getting everything done quickly the way it worked out, we're gonna meet with them after. But we'll update all of you with, anything noteworthy that comes from that consultation. Cecilia told me today that the town is also preparing kind of a memorandum about, actually, maybe this will satisfy the FAQ, Reg.
Yep.
When we see the draft, but they're preparing kind of a memorandum about the life cycle of this project, how it was brought forth originally and withdrawn and why, and the planning board process. So now that I think of it, perhaps this will satisfy that requirement.
It sounds exactly what I'm suggesting, yes.
So,
All right,
Who's preparing
the select board.
it? Select board's doing it.
no, well, I think Kate asked Cecilia to work on a draft. I think it's not clear yet exactly whose name is going on it, it's, presenting it, but it's going to be sent to the select board before we meet with them on Tuesday. So they will have that document in hand when we go on Tuesday,
Okay.
and we'll get a copy of it as well.
All right. Anybody? Anything else to bring up? That wasn't reasonably anticipated? All right,
Any comments on the language of the warrant article?
No, I think we changed it, so it said the replacement. Originally, it didn't. Wasn't clear that they were gonna dig it out. It was sort of like repair, so that's
Right.
perfect now.
Yeah, I agree.
all right, I have a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So
Let me
moved.
just make sure we don't, oh, well, this isn't a public hearing, so I guess we're not.
Let's second.
Second.
All right, let's vote to Maureen,
All right,
Reg,
All right,
Jim,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Keith,
Aye.
Marshall,
Aye.
and Chair votes aye. All right, great, thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
good night.
Yeah,
Good night.
We've already discussed the point.
yeah, I know, quite a bit.